So let's have a look. Yeah, we'll use Carcilla say when the car is found faulty, right? So normally there is different reactions, right? So if you use pre-purchase inspection as a not a bargaining chip, but as displaying you're a serious car buyer and you want to enter into agreement to purchase the vehicle. So that means you get a permission, and then you book an inspection, right? Mostly you need to get permission. So at this stage, right, what reactions you will get from the sellers is they will say, yeah, no problem, you can make a you can get somebody to inspect the car, or they will say, um, on rare occasions, which are the best answer, we don't allow inspections, right? So you that's where you know you done you saved yourself hassle. Um, so these are typical reactions, right? And then what happens next? You book an inspection, and then day or two after making a booking, suddenly there will be story the car broke down, right? Or suddenly seller will start act once the inspector goes there. They're not there, they're not available, they can't be sort of found, they're not picking up the phone. They basically stonewall you, ghost you, right? Uh, th- these situations, they are rare, but they do happen, and on another occasion, w- yeah, they phone you on a day, or the car is suddenly sold, or it's not available anymore. So these are the occasions what happens after you made a booking. So obviously, most of the car buyers, they don't know that, but these are the indications what I mentioned. After the booking, suddenly car breaks down, right? Or is suddenly not ready for sale. They need to do some repairs suddenly, but they didn't told you on the phone. That's two. Three, obviously they haven't said anything, but inspector arrives, but you can't find the seller. The sales place is locked. There's no one around. Even you agreed on times of arrival times, and inspector um, obviously notified on a day, and notifications are sent prior arrival. So these are situations, you're wasting your time. Whether the car is in poor condition, whether they sold the car, or whether they agreed already sell through somebody else, or they simply ghost. Or suddenly inspector arrives, like I said, and then the car is whether sold, or suddenly they lost keys, right? Or they're not allowing inspection, right? So that means those are clear signs what happens. But these are the situations where I mentioned they are rare. Most common is suddenly the car suddenly it's not ready for sale, right? Suddenly when you say to people you're going to book the inspection, they saying you, oh, we need to do some sort of repairs, right? But you as a buyer not aware, what you want them, not because they need to do some repairs, because what happens, inspector arrives, the car is not ready for sale, they haven't done these jobs, right? That means they still can be poorly done the job. There can be situations where the repairs are carried out to the poor standard, or misdiagnosed, or not rectified, right? Or when they need to do discount pads or something, they will put cheap pads, there will be squeaks, etc., something like that. So the vehicle is not ready for sale. So if you're watching the video, just make sure when the seller says you're on a phone, when you're arranging an inspection, or we need to do some work, make sure you advise them, look, let me know, I'm interested, right? I reserving this car with refundable deposit, but make sure the vehicle is rectified and is ready, sort of for sale, and is ready for inspection, pre-purchase inspection, right? So going forward, right? So to make sure you know this and how they react once the inspection is complete, right? Again, you can classify this in sort of three situations, right? They will say nothing, right? That will be just a normal reaction, because well, it's a used car. There will be some issues, right? And probably this is the best response probably from the sellers. And then obviously you can discuss that with the inspector, and you can just you can send them the shareable link, right, to rectify issues of concern if there are any, or negotiate on a price, um, or not buy the car. Other two situations is where inspector inspects the car. There are problems, quite, let's say, quite a lot, nothing serious, but maintenance issues, right? So they pointed out, and inspectors normally they know if there will be too many maintenance issues, too many, some further investigation, some some weird fault code, right? And considering probably the price, they more likely, considering what it will cost to rectify, they will not do it, right? And those situations are where they normally say, "Oh yeah, we will fix everything. That's not a problem." They normally say that to the inspector. Yeah, we will fix everything, and they say one thing to the inspector, and then to the customer, they say, "No, they're not gonna do it," right? But they haven't described the car, right? And then the third example is where they will act like they will accept what the inspector's saying, or the vehicle fails as an inspection, or the warning lights coming on, and there has been just declared faults just to mislead somebody. Also, there are genuine situations, right, where there is evidence of what's been repaired just now or just recently, or it matches with the main dealer visit and some recall, let's say, or in general there has been an ECU scan, which matches the mileage, so the matches, right, when you sort of pay attention what happened and when you're questioning why the fault's been just cleared, there's a legitimate explanation. But I'm talking about what there's not, right? Or they say that you can see the parts haven't been replaced, right? And these are the situations where they will come back to the buyer and will say this inspector doesn't know anything about cars. He doesn't have anything about I mean, let's say BMW, or he doesn't have anything about Audi. He doesn't have anything, So that's just the most bizarre um, answer, right? Instead of acknowledging, yeah, there was an issue, even if there is, oh yeah, there is an issue, but for us it will be too expensive to fix. We're not going to fix this thing, and uh, we will auction the car off, let's say, right? So this is sort of what happens, right? um, and how they react, right? Typically that could be a private seller, that could be small one man council estate seller, right? That could also be a main dealer. So there is no definitive sort of example who actually does the most. They all do it, right? Even main dealers. So it's just a fact, if the bodywork is tatty, the questions are, why don't you just explain these situations, explain the car to the potential buyer as is, because you will save people. The buyer would save the hassle for the genuine person who is sort of interested, right? If they would just describe the cars, as is, like even just visual, yeah, it's not a Bodywork is not very good example. It's got a bit flat pates, excessive scratches, but we still sort of selling it, But the rest of it is sort of working order. Yeah, interior it has quite a bit or significant age related wear because let's say it comes from it is ex mobility car or it is ex business use or it is ex taxi, right? Why don't you say that straight away? It will simply eliminate the people who doesn't want that sort of car, right? By visual appearance, and it will attract the people who doesn't care. You see, okay, that will be for me, and I will buy it. It's like you will move the traffic to the right car. Everyone can make a decision based on an advertisement whether that will be sort of suitable car. But so this is what I don't understand. So probably you're not alone when you read as a consumer read these advertisements. They're advertising how long they've been in the business, how good they sell in cars, how good they are. But that you you have to be selling the car, not yourself. No one gives a shit how long you've been in the business, how good you are, because you selling a used car. So describe the used car accordingly. You know, even the things you don't like I said, you will drive the right people to the right car. And if you will describe the better I just don't get the logic, right? The better you will describe the car, and also let's say mechanically and electric, everything is fine, and you will pinpoint out most shitty things on this vehicle, the more likely, even if you would sell it on a distance sale and it's been disclosed, they can't reject the car. They can't take you to the court, even for a stupid thing which they're gonna call it's a misdescription, right? Which would be perfectly okay, condition would be perfectly okay for the age and so the mileage of the vehicle, and it is of satisfactory quality because it is used goods. They are somewhere and say, but it's like a phones, right? When you want to sell the phone to the broker who gonna remanufacture, they will give there are free quotes: poor condition, cracks, blah blah blah, average, some scratches, not deep, nothing cracked, right? But there is wear quite visible, and there is a good or maybe even an excellent, like as new, So because people same way on a car bodywork, it's an interior you can explain it, no brainer, and reduce the car based on a potential might cost to rectify it, and you're not going to do it because you're not interested in doing it, right? Because it's just a hassle, time wasting, so you just reduce the car price £300, £400, so that means the right person will buy it. Very simple. And only thing you've done, you increased, instead of saying, oh, we have a great reviews, how good we are, it's just bullshit, right? People define you. Service is not waffling bullshit what the sellers do normally. The service is if you do something, you describe. If you do something, you deliver, and it comes on time, right? No one gives a shit how polite you're on the phone. Everyone wants a solution, right? That's it. If you give it, you described it, that's what it was. This is what we gave you. That's it. That is service. And at least the person read this ad, he understands it, and he will not complain. That's the main thing. It's just these car sellers are just stupid, in my opinion. But however, um, the main thing is if you are a serious buyer, check what you're buying. Make sure there's a full main dealer service history or specialist only. Two keys. It's clean. You've done your full car history check, and then obviously the best is always make sure you check and inspect properly, right? Because consumer rights is not really a warranty, because most of the sellers they can't prove they don't do proper inspections where when they because in the first 6 months they have to prove the fault wasn't present at the time of the purchase. They can't prove it because they haven't done these inspections, you know? Even some say we do, you know? Pre-delivery inspection is not saying there wasn't a problem. That's just a pre-delivery check, you know? That's not an inspection. So they just shooting themselves in a foot in the end of the day, right? But however, you as a smart buyer, check what you buy to use goods. They have to describe things, but it doesn't happen, right? Every car is different, you know. They are interested just to sell cars, even they think they don't want to sell to you, right? But they will still sell it because they bought that shit car themselves, right? They have to get rid of it, you know. So that means um, you have to double check if it meets your standards, you know. And there's nothing hidden because stop relying on the Consumer Rights Act. It is used goods. They will drag you. They will stonewall you. They will ghost you. They will put you through the miserable things. Taking somebody to the court for the stupidity, right? It will just show you how stupid you are yourself, right? It's just because you relying on something. It's easier to lie, right, than to prove the person is guilty and lying. You know, I mean, so you should check what you're buying. That £200 inspection, it's much cheaper considering 1 year of litigation, arguing for 2 months, waiting on finance companies' decisions, getting replies, getting engineer reports potentially, getting somebody to draft the small claims court, or getting somebody to draft a court hearing which is above £10,000. You know, it's not worth the time and effort. You know, I guarantee you will be wasting whole months calling the seller. You know, complaining, writing emails, calling, hours on the phone, right? Getting consultation, calling citizens advice. And then you're thinking you're very smart, trading standards. You know, all this nonsense which can be saved by £200. You know, obviously, inspection will save you from buying a bag of shit, right? Um, on occasions, it will potentially can pinpoint out the issues which will go wrong if there is a evidence of something causing something which will fail, you know, or like a potential fault code which will appear, or anything which can be apparent, like a noise, vibration, you know. So at least you will know, right? And on occasions, yes, inspection will prevent you from the breakdown too. However, I'm not talking about misdescribed car by inspector deliberately. That's completely different, right? That's a neglect, right? Like anything else, you know. But mostly inspectors interested. It is as described because with car exam standard, they look at the vehicles as they would be buying it for themselves, right? And as it as the inspection can't be taken as a warranty, right? Because it can be inspected and can be and the car will still break down, right? Even like next day, let's say, you know, fuel pump stops, let's say, or or when you're driving, crankshaft sensor fails, you know, hypothetically, right? If you're talking about that, or the key immobilizer chip cracks and it just doesn't start the car anymore, you know. So it can't prevent inspection can't prevent from sudden mechanical electrical failure, right? It just can describe the car. So, but at least if you decided the issues has been found or they were always been rectified before collection, at least you know you bought a sensible car, right? So it prevents that blaming seller you bought a shit car. You know, you bought a right car and it's just failed, right? Unfortunately, right? So it will just minimize all the complaints. So if it breaks down and if something serious within 30 days, you, you, you reject it, right? Or if it's something simple, if the engine fails, you know, gearbox fails, you just reject the car. Probably if it's a diesel and some turbo fails and injectors fails, you reject the car because you don't want to. It's not really a sort of simple fix because there will be some consequences down the line, right? So it's a serious sort of problem. Same with turbo, you just don't want it, or it's a mass airflow or crankshaft sensor, temperature sensor, something simple, or you found out suddenly you might need a recall, but obviously that will be covered under manufacturers, sort of goodwill, it's not end of the world, but at least you bought a sensible car, and obviously it's a must. You must take an extended warranty, at least for a year, preferably take it for free, 2 3 years, based on how long you're going to keep the car, you know appropriate, research. There's the older the car, the less exercise, the older the car, just don't be in illusion they're going to fix everything, right? I'm talking about if you buy the car between 3 to 5 years old, because there are some cars where you service it at the main dealer, they will you'll get automatically 12 months warranty, or the cars will still have 5 years manufacturer's warranty. Some cars that have 7 years manufacturer's warranty, but also again, not everything will be covered, But let's just say it doesn't, right? So if you buy a 3 to 5 year old car, you always get an extended warranty. You have a still sensible cover, Um, but even saying so, buying an older car, putting appropriate extended warranty, which should cover engine rebuild, and gearbox rebuild. So the so the main things which can be expensive, like on a 3 liter V6, at least £10,000, for the engine. They can be £16,000 for rebuild on diesels, So you need something which covers you, let's say, up to value of that vehicle for the repair costs, right? And it's a sensible cover where they will try to cover, not try to wash every engine spin, like oil oil pump under wear and tear, right? Turbo under wear and tear. It just doesn't make sense. That means they can they can not pay you out, and will consider the main bearings in engine or con rods wear and tear, right? This is the insurance coverage you don't want, But saying so, to find one, I don't know. I can't recommend anyone. Um, I believe any car which has an engine fails, regardless, as long as it's not driver's error, right, or deliberate cause to fail, right, they should pay regardless out. If the oil pump stops, if it losing oil pressure, or there was a overheating again, something which can be caused by the user, right? It keeps driving, engine seizes, right? And ignore the fact it was overheating, So it means if engine's overheating, you should immediately stop and do not drive the car. Simple fact, you know. So, but these facts can backfire and shoot you as if you're a user. That could be your neglect, and they will not pay out. And I agree. Um, you know, Same with low pressure or low oil. If you drive it, um, and it sort of seizes. Again, there's certain situations which is hard to prove, but I'm not gonna speculate on anything, right? Um, Normally, um, people who will take extended warranties aren't paying, because they're not really that cheap if you try to get a good one, right? Um, if it if it fails, they again they might cover it, right? They will not give too much of a hassle. But also, there are these smart people who buy the car, and after first day they claim engine repair or chain, right? Or the gearbox issue. But highly likelihood you knew there was a problem. You just get an extended warranty just to put a claim on. Again, it's hard to prove, right? But I'm just saying, what's gonna happen? They're gonna stonewall you. I've seen the situations, and highly likelihood people technically really knew there was a problem, they will not cover any recalls, um, any manufacturing known defects, which haven't been done and failed, so they will not cover anything like that, that's in the terms and conditions. So don't be an illusion you'll get covered everything. You need to read the small print, you need to read small print, what's covered, what's not covered, like oil leaks, coolant leaks, nothing is covered, and sometimes consequential damage is not covered, then it's no point buying that warranty, I need to find a different one, so when it comes to these extended warranties, again, when we will come to the engine failures, they will ask you service history. So don't buy the car who doesn't have provable service history, right? So this is why I keep whinging and moaning about everyone buying a car with full main dealer service history. When it will come, it's like when you get in a new car. If you don't do the service at the right time, it will invalidate manufacturer's warranty, right? So that means if you're buying a car without the service history, it will just invalidate your extended warranty, right? When it will come to the serious issues like engine failure, right? Turbos, right? They will not. It's not been maintained in a correct intervals, and they will find that out. Will be first thing what they're gonna ask. They will not ask that if the alternator stop charging or start the motor, right? Because it's nothing to do with the maintenance, right? But when it will come to the gearbox failures, engine failures, any sort of way, um, differential, transfer box, that's where everything gonna pop out. And if you will have quick fit servicing again, and you can't prove things you done when it needed to be done on a transmission, diffs, again, they will not cover it. That's what I'm saying. Buy the car with full main dealer service history or specialist only. Avoid cars who have quick fit hazards maintenances. You need properly documented, and technically followed manufacturer guidelines. That's the most simplest way is main dealer service history. Or there are some obviously garages who do follow, and will print out your auto data, so the um, guideline what's been done on the service, right? Because most of the places I go by, I just need oil change, and they will do the oil change. They will only do what you ask them to do. So, and you will not, and you will ignore DSG oil or transfer box oil, automatic gearbox oil, or the diff oils, right? Because you would think it's not required, right? So that's how the problem starts, So I hope this sort of helps. But regards to car sellers, this is how they gonna treat you. If you're serious, always use, even if you don't want to book an inspection, but use pre-purchase inspection as to see how they're gonna respond. And they say if they're gonna respond in normal manner, check it yourself or get professional to check it for you to make sure there's nothing sort of outstanding which will be a problem for you, and to minimize your risks, right, of hassle of dealing with completely stupid things, and which will drain your energy, your time, your money, and you will stuck with shit car, let's say, right? So take care.